In this lesson, we are going to be looking at ratios. We're going to be looking at writing ratios and simplifying them. So what is a ratio? A ratio is something that shows a relationship between two numbers. Let's see if I can move this out of the way. There we go. Ratios compare quantities that are measured in the same unit, but a ratio has no unit. So what that means is that if the ratio involves units of measurement, such as feet, inches, gallons, quarts, then the ratio, both of them have to have the same unit. And we'll look at that farther on in the lesson. But first, let's look about how to write and how to read ratios. Ratios can be written three ways, but in all three ways they are read the same way. 3 to 9. You can write a ratio with the word 2. 3 to 9, and of course it reads 3 to 9. You can also write ratios with a colon in the middle, and that also reads 3 to 9. Ratios can also be written to look like a fraction, and this fraction bar here would say 2, so that also reads 3 to 9. So most of the time, especially today when we're going to be simplifying, well, I'm going to be writing them the third way because we want to simplify the ratios and we're used to simplifying fractions. So if we write them to look like the fraction, it seems to be a little easier to do that. Okay, express the ratio 12 baskets in 18 attempts as a fraction in simplest form. 12 baskets in 18 attempts. This does not involve units of measurement, so all we have to do is take the one that they mention first, which is 12 baskets. So the 12 is going to go on top, 12 to 18 is mentioned second, so it goes on the bottom, and we read that 12 to 18. We want it to be simplified, so we simplify it just like a fraction, and both of these are divisible by 3. Oh, I'm trying to erase that. There we go. Divisible by 3. Oh, there's something bigger than 3. We can divide both of these by 6. And when we do that, we get the simplified ratio of 2, 3. Now, we don't read it 2/3. 2/3 is the way you read it as a fraction. But since it's a ratio, we read it 2 to 3. So it looks like a fraction, but we read it as a ratio. So here it was, simplified. And what does that mean? It means that for every 3 shots that they attempted, 2 were made. Express the ratio 10 roses out of 12 flowers as a fraction in simplest form. Again, this does not involve unit of measurements, so we're going to take the first number, it's going to go on top. We're going to take the second number, it's going to go on the bottom. It looks like a fraction, but we wrote it as a ratio, so we read it 10 to 12. Now we can simplify. Both of these are divisible by 2. So when we simplify it, that would be 5 to 6. We read it as a ratio, 5 to 6, not 5/6, like we would if it was a fraction. So what does that mean? It means that out of every flower, every 6 flowers, 5 of them are roses. Express the ratio 15 out of 100 campsites at a campground are reserved for campers with pets as a fraction in simplest form. Again, this does not involve units of measurement, so we take what they say first, which is 15, out of 100, and we're going to write that as a ratio, 15 to 100. Both of those are going to be divisible by 5. So when we simplify it, it would be 3 to 20. Not 3/20 as a fraction, but as a ratio it's 3 to 20. And what meaning does that have? It means that for every 20 campgrounds, 3 are reserved for campers with pets. I express each ratio as a fraction in simplest form, 12 boys to 16 girls. We simply set it up as a ratio, which would be 12 to 16. And then we simplify it, and both of these numbers are divisible by 4. And when we simplify it, that would be 3 boys to 4 girls. 24 out of 60 light bulbs. So again, we set it up as a ratio, 24 to 60. Both of these numbers are divisible by 12, and when we simplify it, that would be 2 to 5. So out of every 5 light bulbs, 2, something about 2 of them. It doesn't say, it says 24 out of 60 light bulbs, but it doesn't say what about these 24 light bulbs. I do not know. 36 DVDs out of 84 DVDs. Set up as a ratio, 36 to 84. Then we can simplify it. Both of these numbers are divisible by 12, so that would be 3 to 7. In Mr. Blackwell's class, 15 out of 24 students play sports. Express as a ratio, as a fraction in simplest form. So we have 15 to 24. This goes on top, this goes on bottom. Reread it, 15 to 24. Both of these numbers are divisible by 3, so that would be 5 to 8, which means for every 8 students, 5 participate in sports. Now this is where it's going to start getting a little more involved. If units of measurement are involved, such as feet, inches, liquid capacity like gallons or quarts, then you have to make sure that they're the same unit as you write the ratio. This may involve a unit conversion. So let's see what this looks like. First of all, if we have 8 ounces to 3 pounds, this is a unit of measurement. So you have to look at this and say which one is larger, ounces or pounds? Well, pounds is larger, so we would want to convert the larger to the smaller. So I need to convert pounds, here's the abbreviation, to ounces. So what conversion do I know between pounds and ounces? Do you know how many ounces are in a pound? There happens to be 16 ounces in a pound. So I go down here, and since there's 16 ounces in a pound, I'm going to take the 3 pounds and I'm going to multiply it times 16 because there's 16 ounces in each one of those pounds. And 3 times 16 would be 48. So now we have rewritten it using the same unit of measure. So our 8 ounces to 3 pounds is now written 8 ounces to 48 ounces. You convert the larger to the smaller. Then we can simplify it. And 8 and 48 are both divisible by 8, so it would be 1 to 6. Okay, this time we have 15 inches to 1 foot. Again, you have units of measurement. So we take the larger measurement, which is the foot, and we want to convert it to the smaller measurement, which is the inches. So you have to think to yourself how many inches in a foot, and we know that there are 12 inches in a foot. So we're going to take that 1 foot and we're going to multiply it times 12. And of course 1 times 12 is 12. So to rewrite it, it would be 15 inches to 12 inches. Simplified, both of those numbers are divisible by 3, so it would simplify to 5 to 4. 3 pints to 4 quarts. So first I have 3 pints to 4 quarts. The larger is the quarts, so I want to convert it to pints. So I have to think to myself, or I have to look it up. If you don't know how many pints are in a quart, then you would have to look up that conversion. There happens to be 2 pints in a quart. So I take the number of quarts and I multiply it times 2. So there would be 8 pints. So if I rewrite that, it would be 3 to 8. And that is simplified. 9 inches to 1 yard. 9 inches to 1 yard. So I have to convert the larger measurement, which is yards, into inches. So I have to look up, or I have to know how many inches are in a yard. There happens to be 36 inches in 1 yard. So I have to multiply our 1 times 36, which of course is 36. So I can rewrite this as 9 to 36. And when you simplify that, that is 1 to 4. 6 gallons to 3 quarts. This time, the larger measurement is on the top. All of the rest of them have been written with the largest measurement on the bottom, but gallons is larger than quarts. We still have to convert the larger to the smaller. So how many quarts are in a gallon? There are 4 quarts in a gallon, so we have to take our 6 gallons and multiply times 4, which is 24. So that makes our new ratio 24 to 3. And when we simplify that, they're both divisible by 3, it would be 8 to 1. Now I know with fractions, if you simplify something and it becomes 8 over 1, you can get rid of the 1 and just say, oh, that equals 8. But when you have a ratio, you have to have a number on top and on bottom because it's not a fraction. You have to say 8 to something. So it's 8 to 1. So you still have to keep this 1 down here on the bottom. 8 to 1. And that is writing ratios and simplifying.